Hi, today I have a message called Behind the Surface. So, the short version: if you mount a defense, you are building up a false identity and leaning upon it. What is behind the surface is much more important than anything ego tells you a surface means. When the screen is cleared, then something new can be written upon the screen. Ego makes something out of nothing. Thoughts about sin are thoughts about nothing. Okay, so if you mount a defense, you are building up a false identity and leaning upon it. So when I feel any resistance, any tension, any sense of victimhood, any back and forthness of struggling judgment or burden of judgment, any of that, I am trying to find security in an idea of myself that would be separate and oppositional to you. And because it's so easy to notice when you don't feel good, that's when I can notice my language. That's when I can notice I'm trying to build up that identity and lean upon it. And there is another option here. There is my actual identity, and there is a resting in it. And there's a being open, and there's a being inspired. So I can start to notice that of these two settings, one feels much better than another. One feels it's much easier to remember how much everyone is loved in one setting than in the other setting. So it's a very good reason to rest instead of engaging in the defensive setting. I will say this though, I have felt the defensive setting maybe more strongly than I have in quite a while. I did yesterday. So I think sometimes this surfaces for us so we can see it. We can see the extent to which we still rely upon it. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm getting this, here I go. And then, it comes up really big in your sight or your experience. Like, wow, look at this. Look at the engagement in the trying to lean on the sense of separate and defensive self. Look at that. That was almost natural. It wasn't unnatural. It was natural. I went right to it. So then that gives us an opportunity to rest and remember and reset. Okay. Is there anything else? If you mount a defense, you are building up a false identity and leaning upon it. And at the same time I'm doing that for myself, I'm doing that for you, totally misperceiving you, not focusing on the fact that you are love and the fact, not your false self, but your actual self, which is mine. I'm forgetting everything. I'm refusing to remember. So how do I know? By how I feel when I believe any injustice has been done, when I believe anything's off, when I believe anything's lacking, when I believe anything wrong is going to happen, anything like that. If I believe in the possibility of harm, anything like that, I'm engaging in that setting where I am building up and defending and posing separate selves. So it's like BattleBot setting, and I can remember, I really need to rest, and I need to be I need spirit to help make me aware of what is actually here. Okay, what is behind the surface is much more important than anything ego tells you a surface means. So I am noticing that repetitive experiences I've had in my past, I assume they will repeat. You assume you know how a situation goes, how a group dynamic works, and then it repeats in your sight, or how a person works, and then they do the same things they always did in your sight. So it's like this repetition and expectation and thinking I know based on judgments of surfaces. These people are this way, this person is this way, this is how this is likely to go. This keeps coming up a lot for me lately. So it's Yeah, definitely time to take a look at it. What is behind a surface is much more important than anything ego tells you a surface means. So if there's any tension, resistance, sense of something going wrong, I'm letting ego tell me about a surface instead of remembering the surface can't do anything for me, but what is actually here is everything for me. And it's spirit who's going to interpret and guide me, because ego, this false self, I'm used to allowing it to run loose and organize everything. It doesn't know anything about anything. It knows about repetitions of the past, but those are meaningless. About the meaningful stuff, ego doesn't know anything and can't do anything. So again, I really have to rest when I notice I'm letting ego run around and organize things. I can stop and remember what's behind all surfaces here, and could I put that in charge of my perception, of my perceived actions, of my perceived speech, of the speech and action I perceive coming from you. Could I put all of that in charge of all of everything that I seem to see? When the screen is cleared, then something new can be written upon the screen. So when I see that what ego shows me is meaningless, even though it's going to give me all these positive and negative interpretations of it, that's like clearing the screen. When I can see it truly means nothing, then spirit gets a chance to write upon the screen and guide me through and out of the dream with everyone. We don't leave anybody behind. So when the screen is cleared, then something new can be written upon the screen. I was at the dentist yesterday, and when I get in this state with you're lying down in the chair and you're there for a while, and you can kind of relax into an open state if the dentist doesn't, if you find that a relaxing enough environment. So often with my dental hygienist, I'll hear something. She's used to this by now, and it will repeat and repeat and repeat, and I'll fight it every time. I'll fight it because I don't want to be weird. I know that's judgmental, but it's still there. I haven't let go of it. And but an idea came through to share with her, and I did end up sharing it, and she found it extremely comforting and was very happy to hear from me. So it all worked out. It was fine. But kind of, in that situation where you're more open than usual, maybe you're not like active and darting around the grocery store getting your groceries, but you're just in a chair doing nothing, right? Things can be made obvious to us when we're receptive, and we can share those things, and we'll be told exactly how to share them. And even if the ego says, if you do this, it's you're gonna look so weird, I found it safe to go ahead and do it. Even with ego kind of kicking and screaming. And I had a memory surface, and what is memory? It's, I don't know. Let spirit use it. But I kind of recall when I was little saying some things that were startling to others, things that I could not have known. And so I kind of learned, you really shouldn't do this. Because in that case, there was an uncomfortable feeling about it. And so I kind of internalized, you have to try to turn this off or block it, or definitely not express it, because if you do, it's gonna be weird. Like, you are making people feel weird. You better stop it. So having that surface is good, because now I can see, oh, that was ego. That was ego, and I didn't have anything to be afraid of, and I don't now, and it's okay. Okay, I think that's it for that. Ego makes something out of nothing. So, we have to be careful when interpreting the past events of our lives. Well, let's hope we let Spirit do that and not ego, because we want to be in the state where we're being guided and not, what do I want to say, manipulated by the false sense of self we made. We know when we're being manipulated because it doesn't feel good. It feels stressful to be manipulated. But it's funny because as much as it feels stressful to be manipulated by our false sense of self, and as much of it as it feels beautiful to flow with the guidance that's here for us, ego will come in and fight it. So it's okay if we know what's happening and we know how to not believe what's being said eternally and did I say eternally? Internally. And we know how to rest and wait. This is, like the season of learning how to wait and then hearing, okay, this is what could be said. This is what could be done. Okay, so the ego makes something out of nothing. Everything the ego made was nothing. The ego had to use the power of love to make illusion because there's no other power. But the illusion the ego made itself is nothingness. And even so, Spirit can come in and use it as street signs and pointers and lights that say, go this way, or stop signs, stop here, don't go that way. And there's a lot of gratitude here for that. Even though we made this nothingness and we don't recognize that it's nothing and we think that it's real, even so what we made can be used to help not just ourselves but everybody. So if I'm going to judge the aspects of time and space today, I'm going to block allowing everything to be used to direct and point everyone toward what makes everyone truly happy, in my sight, in my perception. But if I learn how to try to stop relying on differential judgments of all these things that seem to be separate, then this big picture can come into focus where I see, first of all, everyone's true nature behind anything the ego would project on them, and second of all, how much everyone's loved and how much everyone's supported. If I can see that for you, I can see it for me. So it's a very beautiful picture that comes into focus when I learn how to not pay attention to the positive and negative things ego is saying about all these separate aspects. Okay. Thoughts about sin are thoughts about nothing. I thought it was interesting that the word sin came in, because there are the two senses of the word sin. First, wrongdoing, and then second, missing the mark, missing the point, making a mistake. Like if I see you as you are not, I missed the mark. I didn't see you as you are. So a mistake, that's not a problem. It's just a mistake and it can be corrected. But let's see where I'm supposed to go with this. Thoughts about sin are thoughts about nothing. Well, certainly thoughts about others and the wrongdoing of others. It's this meaningless that the ego can offer me and I can engage in. So the ego offers this massive meaningless judgment, and I can engage in believing someone has done wrong. And it can be very tempting, especially where I think, oh, I've let this go, and then something comes in, and it's very tempting to believe the judgment and to see a me versus a them, or a me versus a you. But all those thoughts about wrongdoing are thoughts about nothing. So that gets us interested. If there's no wrongdoing here. I'm just tricking myself with perception that is a direct effect of the thoughts I believe, the egoic thoughts I believe, then what actually is here and what actually could be done to help us? So now we get to find out. That's the beautiful part. We're learning how to look past all this nothingness we invented and any attachment to it and any idea about parts of it being especially positive versus parts of it being especially negative. We get to look past all that, and we get to find out what are the beautiful blessings and gifts that are here for everyone, and how do they get shared. We get to see that. We get to see that unfold as we listen and learn and follow. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you for listening, and happy healing.